Hello everyone, Hyper here. If you're into mount collecting, I have some great news for you. The secret Discord figured out their new riddle added with patch 7.3 in Argus. Upon completion, you will unlock the Lucid Nightmare mount, which is a recolor of the mount you get from the Dreamweaver's cache. In this video, I will walk you through step by step how you need to complete each riddle until you unlock the mount. Let's get started. The first clue will be in Dalaran in the Curiosities and More shop. Just go upstairs and you will see the note on the table by the bookshelf. Now after you interact with it, you'll see a cool little animation and it will give you your first hint. For the next part, we'll be going to Old War. You just need to kill the first boss, then get to XD. In the northwest corner, there's a big pile of junk, and within it you will find a lever. Now after you pull it, it will unlock a 20 by 20 grid of lights that you can light up one by one. Here's an image of the solution that you have to have. I will also have a link to this in the description below, so make sure to just either stop the video here or pull up the image when you're doing it. Just find a strategy that works for you to light up these lights, and after you completed all of them, they all disappear, and 4 little lights spawn in the middle of the room with a note in the middle. Now this will be our next clue. As with the previous note, you need to make sure you run up to it and you actually click it, because otherwise you won't be triggering the next part of the riddle. This clue will take us to AQ40, also known as Temple of Anchorage. If you haven't been here before, it's kind of difficult to find. You can just Google it and it will show you where the entrance is if you're having issues with it. But after you go inside, this place is kind of confusing. Just kill the first boss, then enter the main chamber, and it will take you down in a spiral and around in a huge loop, killing all the bosses. Now after you killed all the bosses except for the last one, Cthulhu, which you actually don't have to kill, you can just run past his room, and you saw there on the map where this place is. Now here you will find a little larva, which you just click, and it pulls up a Bejeweled game. Now, there have been a few different theories of how you actually win this. I just kept playing while I was watching a movie, and it just kind of eventually won. A few of the theories were that you need to get 5 brains in a row, which I actually got. I also got 5 of the little ghosts in a row. I also got 4 tentacles in a row, so I'm not sure exactly what the win condition is, but I'm pretty certain at this point that it's just score based. So as long as you keep playing, you will eventually finish it. This part took me about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe. So kind of a while, but you know, it wasn't really a big deal. And this unlocks your next note. This note gives us a hint, which sends us to Deepholm. Now, the entrance of the cave here, I have the coordinates up, and I will just fast forward through the footage of how I actually got to the part where you need to find a fissure in the ground, because it's a little bit confusing. I got on my first try, even though I got kind of lucky. But basically, you just enter the cave, keep going straight, and just try not to get hit by the worm, or if you do, you know, it'll turn you around a little bit like it did me here. But basically, you need to find this big room that has a bunch of crystals in it. And next to one of the crystals, there's a fissure in the ground which you can click, and you can pour it down to a separate cave. After you're in this cave, you need to equip your item that I had a link to in the beginning of the video, which is the Shadow Weave Mask. Now here you just equip it and make sure you do a /reload. For me, it wouldn't let me interact with the item without reloading. And I just had to Google it, and they had a few hints, and this actually fixed it for me. If it doesn't, then try relogging. That might also work. After that, I just interacted with the skull, and the new note appeared. After they figured it out, they had to wear the mask. It turns out that we have to go to Nomrogon. Now this part was again over a day to figure out, but this initial part is easy to find the note. Just run down into the dungeon. I'll just fast forward through the footage here because you can get turned around very easily in this place if you haven't done it before, and I haven't done it in years, so even I had to stop and look up a map real quick. I also have a map in the description box, so if you would rather just pull up a map than watch me run through the whole dungeon, then you're more than welcome to do that. But basically, you just zone in, run straight, drop down, run across this pit, the Hall of Gears, towards the launch bay, and you just kind of keep left and follow the wall that's on your left. Um, After you get to the launch bay, just take your first left into these little staircase uh, tunnel, I guess, and just follow it all the way down. And at the bottom, you will actually see the levers on the left wall. I actually ran past them here in the beginning, and then you'll see me turn back. Now, these instructions here reference 3 different battle pets in binary. After people figured out which the pets were, they looked at their damage, combined the numbers, reversed them, and added 1 to each one, which is how they came up with the solution, which is 1, 22, 21, 76, 59, and 7. Now you just click on the levers and you either tell it to go up or down until you have the correct number, which you can see whenever you click on the console, it will show you what number it's displaying. After you got all of them right, the consoles will just shut down and the note will appear. This note was figured out very quickly. Within minutes, people were already in Val'Sharah, which you can see here on the screen. You have to go inside the house and there's a brain inside it. After interacting with the brain, it will pull up another minigame for you. Here, it wants you to untangle all the lines. Basically, you don't want any of the lines overlapping, and this was a really fun minigame for me because most minigames only have one solution, so you can easily Google it and then just copy whatever they did and you get the solution, and it's not much fun. This one has multiple solutions, okay? So basically, you can either follow what I'm doing here, which is just kind of messing around with it. It took me about 10 minutes to figure this out. Or you can just look up and find one of the solutions that's possible and try to mimic that one. But I definitely suggest just playing around with it and, trying to figure it out on your own. And then if you're really struggling, then you can just look up an image or you can pause the video or put in slow motion here and watch exactly what I was doing. After completing this one, as all the lines turn blue, that's an indication that you completed the puzzle, and you will unlock the next note. This note gives us a hint that sends us to Conlai's summit. Now here, this is the most frustrating part of the riddle that I faced so far. And it's also the last part, so you're almost there. If you gotten this far, then power through it, it's definitely worth it in the end. So you just run into this building, and you will see that there's an urn at the feet of the statue. Now first I was looking down on the ground and I couldn't find it. Just look slightly up and you'll see it. Now, this is the Endless Halls part. The objective of this is to find the orbs and their magic runes. Every single time you run through one of these doors, it puts you back in the same room, or seemingly so. I definitely suggest drawing a map. I actually grabbed a piece of paper and started mapping out the whole place. And you can see that some of the exits and paths are closed, while others are open. For the very first one there, I ran you through how I did the yellow one. You basically need to find the torches that have the yellow orb, and you grab the orb, then take it back to its corresponding rune. It's very easy to get turned around, and this took me about an hour to do, because at first I wasn't mapping it, I was just kind of running around. And then after I figured out the strategy for it, and I started drawing a map and mapping out each of the rooms, how they interact with each other, I was able to figure it out. Now I cut out a bunch of the middle pieces because, like I said, it took me about an hour to do, 45 minutes-ish to do this part, and it was very frustrating until I started drawing a map. And even then, this place seems to be on 3 levels, or some of the rooms overlap as I was mapping it out, which was kind of annoying, but in the end, we got it. So there's 5 of these runes that you need to do, the yellow, red, green, blue, and purple ones. The order doesn't matter at all. And after you get all 5, just run into any of the rooms and it will port you to the last location, which is the last note with your last hint. Now this maze is randomly generated when you enter, so you can't just use someone else's map, which is why it is so difficult. I also noticed that around the edges, the maze loops, so if you keep going the same direction around the edges, you'll just run in an infinite loop. Now, this last hint again didn't take very long to figure out. Within minutes, people were already finding the mount. And this hint will actually send us to Karazhan. More specifically, to the abandoned crypts next to Karazhan. Now, as you descend, here you can either follow me of how I ran through, but I have no idea where I was going. So I just kind of ran and ended up in the right place. Or you can, follow the people or just run around for yourself until you find it. But basically, at the lowest level, a new room opens. And after you run down there, you will see in the corner a big pile of bones. And at the top, a purple shiny chest, which was what we were waiting for. Just run up, right click it, and you have the mount. Congratulations. This was probably my favorite puzzle so far in Legion, just because of how complex it was and how much you had to think for yourself and actually play the minigames for yourself. There wasn't just a clear-cut solution where you followed the instructions and it just kind of happened. You actually had to play the mini games to complete them, which was awesome. That's pretty much all I have, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and also consider subscribing. And until the next video, goodbye.